Commercial capital. This is the news at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Anne Waudo.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, suspended Governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, says he is not desperate to return as governor as he cautions his supporters to tone down on their confrontational approach. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana asks anti-corruption agencies to investigate alleged criminal diversion of $3.4 billion IMF loan obtained by Nigeria to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. Surrender your arms or face decisive military action. That's the charge coming from the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, to criminal elements in the southeastern region. And Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says that he is ready to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin in Istanbul on Thursday for talks on ending the war. Tonight, we begin in Rivers State, where the suspended governor of the state, Siminalayi Fubara, is asking his supporters to tone down their confrontational approach to the state's political situation. Mr. Fubara, who was speaking at a night of tribute in honor of the late elder statesman, Chief Edwin Clark, at the Royal House of Grace Church in Port Harcourt, the state capital, advised his supporters to follow his example of peace and restraint. According to him, some of the remarks and actions made by his supporters are unnecessary and contrary to his personal principles of pursuing peace in the midst of political crisis. Mr. Fubara emphasized the importance of drawing inspiration from the life and values of Chief Edwin Clark, especially his commitment to peace and unity.
I want everybody to focus. Please, it's not everything you do, you think. There are some fights you don't fight, there are some things you don't do, because you need to ask the person. Does he want it? I have peace. If you have known me, you've been seeing me, you can see I look better now. In as much as we have things that we need to do for our state, we know people have made sacrifice for us, and we, one way or the other, have to stand by them, does not mean that we should start firing without any target. We need to be focused. Our evening here is about Patlak. It's not Oshobe, it's Fubara, Oshobe. Say, please. I want that. And like I said, it's about Patlak. Every other thing that is said here, every other admonition by whoever is your personal view. It does not speak or does not present the purpose of this evening. Don't do things because you want to do them. Do the things I want. I am the one wearing the shoes. I know the solution to my problem. I know how to walk through my problem.
Governor Umo Eno of Akwa Ibom State has emphasized the need for unity and reconciliation among political parties to achieve good and effective governance across the country. He made this statement during the homecoming Thanksgiving service at the Apostolic Church of Nigeria in Lagos, where he expressed gratitude to God and the church for being a strong support throughout his political journey. The governor also asked members to pray for Lagos State and to support the government in its effort to succeed.
Today, Akwa Ibom State is more united than I met it. That is the legacy I believe we can live by the grace of God. That today, in this hall today, we can find people of different political parties sitting together. When before I came on board, that never happened. It is only in the place of unity that God will command his blessings. And so today, in Akwa Ibom, we do not recognize party. We see party as a vehicle to win elections. We do not see party as a vehicle to govern govern the people. And we govern people across party lines. So please, this is the beauty, this is the joy. This is one legacy we must promote. I don't know where I'll be tomorrow, whether PDP or APC, or whether YPP or YYY. These are just for political convenience and enlightened state interest. But it will never define who I am.
Meanwhile, governors elected on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, are meeting with leaders of the party at the Bauchi Governors Lodge in Abuja. The meeting is convened by the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State. Some of the governors in attendance include those of Bauchi, Osun, Plateau, Adamawa, Oyo, and Enugu State. Others in attendance include former governors Leah Limoke, Achike Udenwa, Olagusoye Unilola, Okezie Ikpeazu, Seriake Dixon, Udom Emmanuel, and Samuel Otom. The acting national chairman of the PDP, Umar Damagum, former caretaker committee chairman Ahmed Makarfi, and some other members of the party's national working committee are also attending that meeting. Although the meeting agenda has not been made known to journalists, this is the second public meeting of the forum since the beginning of this year, and the first since Delta State Governor and his cabinet defected to the ruling All Progressives Congress. Away from politics now, human rights lawyer Femi Falana, a senior advocate of Nigeria, is asking Nigeria's anti-corruption agencies, that's the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, and the ICPC, to investigate the alleged misuse of a $3.4 billion COVID loan obtained from the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. In a statement released on Sunday on behalf of the Alliance on Surviving COVID-19 and Beyond, Mr. Falana called for a thorough probe into the fund's management. The group is also appealing to the IMF board to investigate its own management's alleged failure to ensure the emergency funds were utilized for their intended purpose. And this call for investigation is coming on the heels of the IMF's confirmation last week that Nigeria had fully repaid the $3.4 billion financial support provided under the Rapid Financing Instrument to combat the COVID-19 pandemic. We head to Taraba State now, where the governor, Abu Kefa, says that his administration is committed to repositioning the state's economy by increasing local and foreign investment, all to boost internally generated revenue. He stated this at the unveiling of the Taraba State International Investment Forum, the summit's logo, to residents and will-be partners aimed at strengthening the synergy between the government, the private sector, and communities.
Governor Abu Kefa unveils the Taraba International Investment Summit logo to his guests as a testament of his administration's readiness to boost investments in the state. The summit, scheduled for May this year, seeks to explore new areas of partnerships.
Since our state's creation in 1991, Taraba has never before hosted an event that is dedicated to presenting our vast potentials to the world. Today, we take the first bold steps in branding and broadcasting that potential through a virtual identity that will come to symbolize our aspiration, our values, and our commitment to partnership.
Guests at the event, including a former member of the House of Representatives, Ndidu Elumelu, Speaker of the State Assembly, the 6th Brigade Commander of the Nigerian Army, and other members of the International Investment Summit Committee, expressed their optimism in the summit's outcome.
This logo has been thoughtfully reimagined to reflect the evolving vision of Taraba as a fertile ground for diverse and sustainable investments. At the heart of the design lies a vibrant green leaf. While it continues to represent our deep agricultural heritage, its form now speaks to something broader.
By the end of the summit, Your Excellency, we expect that MOUs will be signed and deals on investment also will be sealed.
After the meeting, members of the summit's committee toured the proposed venue for the event, which is currently under construction. The committee assures of adequate security.
Taraba has full potentials that covers security, covers return on investment, and of course the regulations is very friendly to investors, and they should not be afraid.
The Taraba state government believes the much-awaited development of the state will be made manifest through the summit to address decades of infrastructural deficit.
To security, and we head to Zamfara State, where a late-night attack on the staff quarters of the government secondary school in Safi in Zamfara State by suspected bandits has left a retired secondary school teacher dead and 3 others abducted. According to a statement by the police spokesperson in the state, the victim was killed after resisting abduction by the bandits. They also abducted the wife and 2 other female staff quarter residents. The police PRO further reveals that security personnel, including police tactical squads, have all been deployed to the area and are currently pursuing the attackers. And staying with security, but this time in Imo State, where the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, has issued a strong warning to criminal elements operating in the state and across the southeastern region to surrender their arms or face decisive military action. Air Marshal Abubakar gave this warning during the operational visit of the 211 Quick Response Group of the Nigerian Air Force in Owerri, the Imo State capital, where he assessed the unit's readiness and commissioned some strategic projects designed to enhance the operational effectiveness of the 211 Quick Response Group.
We're here to commission some projects that have a direct bearing on the welfare and operational effectiveness of the unit. Now, since this unit was established several years back, the personnel of the unit have had to stay in various parts of the town. And this has created a lot of issues for command and control, for unit cohesion, and even for the ability of the unit to respond rapidly to emergencies, which is the core mandate of the unit. So the commissioning of this project here today will address all these challenges. And I want to use this opportunity also to reiterate this warning to all those who carry arms against the state, particularly in this region, to perpetrate criminal activities. I warn you again, surrender your arms and embrace peace. Otherwise, we will smoke you out from wherever you are hiding and you face the full wrath of the law. The synergy between the Nigerian Air Force and other sister security services in Owerri has been excellent. You can see the effect of that, because in the past 5-6 months, there has been a drastic reduction in the frequency of criminal activities in Owerri and its environs. You can see now that the population is able to carry out. Before then, it was very difficult for anybody to operate around in the night within the town. But you can see now that the civilians are able to move around and carry out their activities without fear.
In part 2, after the break, Nigeria Maritime University holds its second combined convocation with the conferment of first degrees on 870 graduates and honorary awards on distinguished persons. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. Suspended Governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, says he is not desperate to return as governor, as he cautions his supporters to tone down their confrontational approach. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana asks anti-corruption agencies to investigate alleged criminal diversion of $3.4 billion IMF loan obtained by Nigeria to fight COVID-19 pandemic. Surrender your arms or face decisive military action. That's the charge coming from the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, to criminal elements violence in the southeast region. And Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says that he's ready to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin in Istanbul on Thursday for talks on ending the war. To Kaduna State now, where the government has arraigned 10 suspects before a chief magistrate court for raping a 14-year-old physically challenged girl at Likoro village in Kudan local government area of the state. The suspects, according to the State Commissioner for Human Services and Social Development, Rabi Salisu, carried out the dastardly act when the girl, who has only one eye, was 14 years old.
4 months ago, the Kaduna state government waded into the matter of alleged rape of a physically challenged minor by rearresting the 10 suspects who were granted bail earlier by the police. The state filed charges against the suspect in line with the State Rape Law 2020, Section 257 Penal Code. The minor, who is now a nursing mother, is not in court, but the Kaduna State Commissioner for Human Services and Social Development, Rabi Salisu, gives an account of how the incident happened.
A capital offense are not supposed to be granted bail, so that is why we open up the case as a fresh case to arrest them, and we thank the Commissioner of Police and his team for this quick action that has been taken to arrest this culprit in favor of the survivor. She's a minor, and now she has given birth without her own consent. She has a baby that she cannot take care of. She is too small to handle childhood. She was impregnated when she was 14, and at this moment she is still 15 years old. So I don't know how she can take care of, and she is also blind. She has only one eye, and Kaduna state government is not going to sit down and look at all these menaces happening in our community and to keep quiet. That is why you see me here in court. We have officers that are in charge of the case, but I have to be here present myself to show you the commitment of the government.
With the state's Child Protection and Social Welfare Law already domesticated in Kaduna State since 2020, the Commissioner is optimistic that the victim will get justice, just as she assures that the victim and her baby will be in protective custody where they will be catered for.
We have this Child Protection Social Welfare Law, and we have the VAP law. And these laws, we are implementing it in Kaduna State. We have the sex offender registry. With that sex offender register, we register the name of the culprits that have been sentenced. Kaduna State government is going to take care of the social welfare of the child and the mother. The mother also, she's a child, and the child she has given birth to is also a child. So they are going to be under our care for their social protection and all social amenities.
Although the case has been adjourned to the 22nd of May for mention, the trial judge, Abubakar Alamido, says the court will wait for advice from the Kaduna State Ministry of Justice as he orders the suspect to be remanded at the correctional facility pending the transfer of the case to the High Court.
Earlier this week, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board JAMB released the 2025 UTME results. But overall, less than 25% of the students who sat for that examination scored up to 200 marks out of a possible 400. But according to the JAMB registrar, Professor Ishak Oloyede, this result is consistent with the trend of the last 12 years. So tonight, we'll go beyond finding out who should be blamed. Babajide Ogunsowo, founder of Leadership by Data and Channels Television's data analyst, is here, of course, to share more analysis and intelligence about how this trend can be reversed. Thank you very much, Babajide Ogunsowo, for joining us on the News at 10. Good evening. First, these results have generated quite a lot of negative reactions from everyone, especially from students and parents this time. Do these results highlight the toughness of the examination or the abilities of the students? How should this result be interpreted?
Summary is JAMB is on trial. And if you take a look at the petition from students, teachers, and parents against this result, it has some merit. Again, if you look at the defense that JAMB has put out, there is strong merit from JAMB as well. So what we should do is to look at the petition from students, parents, and their teachers, and to look at the strong defense from JAMB. Now, what do I mean by the petition from students, teachers, and their parents? The summary of that petition is that the input of these children was not what they got from the results in terms of the output. They've talked a lot about system glitches whereby the students, while writing the exam, the laptop went off several times. A lot of back-end glitches happened. So the summary of that petition is the back end of the JAMB results portal cannot be foolproof. What's my take on that? Yes, there's really no system that is foolproof. And we remember in 1912, the Titanic, those that built the Titanic said this ship wouldn't sink. Did that happen? No, it didn't. It sank. Enigma machine, it was during the Second World War when the Nazis had created a system to communicate that to them was meant to be the most secured means of communication. They said they believed it was foolproof. What happened? The Polish government hacked that system. Again, that system failed. We remember even in recent times, if you look at NASA in 1986, then after several decades of working on a spaceship to go to explore what was several miles above, NASA had created a spaceship that they felt was going to provide a lot of intelligence about several planetary bodies. What happened in 1986 after they released that spaceship, the Challenger? 76 seconds after, it blew, sadly killing everybody on board. In simple terms, yes, there is no system that is foolproof, and yes, JAMB has to look at exactly what happened on examination day. That is the petition from students, parents, and teachers. Now, let's look at the defense from JAMB. Now, what JAMB is saying is that this result, Anne, isn't significantly different from the result of 2024, 2023, 2022, and even if we take a look at the results that JAMB has declared, they said even it was significantly worse in 2021 when then only 13% of students scored above 200. So look at this results. From this result in 2025, only 22% of students scored above 200. Not significantly different from 2024 when it was only 24%, neither significantly different from 2023 where it was only 22%, 23%, and 22%. So the position of JAMB is that failure is becoming the new normal. And these results that were posted this year reflect what has been going on for at least a decade based on their result template. So they say we have to be careful because students scoring significantly below 200 is now becoming the new normal. Summary, the petition from students, teachers, and parents has merit. And yes, the defense from JAMB has a lot of merit.
But beyond the national results, I mean, what do the disaggregated results per region look like? So, as of this week, JAMB is yet to fully release the results per state or per region. But what we understand is the pattern hasn't also significantly changed from last year. So if you take a look at what exactly happened last year, it allows us to understand a bit more of the problem and how we can get solutions. Here's what I mean. Where do most students live? The evidence we have today shows that most students that wrote JAMB last year, out of the 1.9 million students, majority of them from southern Nigeria. If you look at the number of students that live in the southwest, 659,000 students that wrote the examination last year, significantly more than even the students that live in the northwest and the northeast. So what this also points out is that we clearly see that there is a challenge of students writing these exams, especially in the northwest and northeast. Again, imagine if students that are writing JAMB in the southwest region are more than the combined students writing JAMB from the northwest and the northeast. But beyond looking at where students live, let's take a look at another critical question, which is, who is writing JAMB? Because that allows us to clearly understand, yes, we've seen the distribution of where these students write JAMB from, but we also need to look at where
are these students from in terms of their state of origin, because it clearly allows us to see if there are educational challenges and what might happen in future. And if we take a look at that template that allows us to clearly look at what happened last year in terms of who is writing JAMB, it then clearly allows us to see even a bigger problem. Again, last year, 1.9 million students sat for JAMB. The evidence in front of us shows that only 40% of that number came from northern Nigeria. Again, only 40% of those that are writing JAMB comes from northern Nigeria. Remember, in the elections, over 60% of our electoral numbers come from the north. However, just about 40% of our JAMB students come from northern Nigeria. But Anne, in the final analysis, what we now need to focus on is what needs to be done. And for me, 3 things. First is JAMB, just as it did last year, needs to provide disaggregated data on exactly what these results really look like. Apart from the national level that we've seen, we need to see results at the local government level, gender level data, state level data. We need to disaggregate this data to be able to interrogate it properly. Second thing that needs to be done is, from 2019, which is in under 3 years, those that will be writing these exams will be classified as the Generation Alpha. What sort of results are we going to be getting from Generation Alpha? These results really were based on Generation Z. Finally, and I know you have to go, but finally, JAMB must not be so humble that it chooses to take all the complaints from everybody, students, parents, teachers. No, JAMB cannot be that humble. But neither should be JAMB be so arrogant that it chooses not to take any feedback on this exam from students, their parents, and their teachers. So JAMB has to understand that it has a role to play between humility and arrogance.
All right, thank you very much, Babajide Ogunsowo, founder of Leadership by Data and Channels Television's data analyst, for your interesting analysis on the news at 10. I'm sure JAMB is listening. Still ahead on the news at 10, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints performs groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of its Lagos, Nigeria temple. Please stay with us. Welcome back. It was a moment of celebration, honor, and pride at the Nigerian Maritime University in Delta State as the institution held its second combined convocation ceremony. A total of 870 students graduated from 3 faculties in that institution, while Governor Sheriff Oborowori of Delta State and other dignitaries received distinguished honorary awards. The ceremony was attended by dignitaries, families, and stakeholders from across the country.
The Nigerian Maritime University, Okeren-Koko, marked a significant academic milestone with its second convocation ceremony, attracting dignitaries from across the nation.
God bless you.
Delivering his address, Pro-Chancellor Abdullahi Bama congratulated the graduating class, commending the university's steady growth and discipline.
There is no doubt that the establishment of the university in this region has helped to foster and maintain a sustainable culture of peace in the Niger Delta. To our graduates, today is your day, so enjoy it in all ways possible and in all ways peaceful, even as we wish you success in all your legitimate future endeavors.
Vice-Chancellor Professor Emmanuel Adigio described the convocation as a landmark event, celebrating a decade of academic excellence and reaffirming the university's position as Nigeria's premier institution for maritime studies.
The Nigerian Maritime University has come of age. With the recent signing into law of the bill establishing this university by President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, the university is now set for greater achievement. And in the next few years, the institution will record phenomenal expansion in its programs directed at maximizing the growth and development generating potentials of the marine and blue economy.
A first-class product with a CGPA
Outstanding students were specially recognized for excellence and dedication, while hundreds of graduates from various faculties were formally conferred with degrees.
And by the authority of Senate, I present to you the person standing for the 2022/2023 and 2023/2024 academic session. I so present.
I hereby award the degree of honorary doctor.
A key highlight of the day was the conferment of honorary Doctor of Science degrees in Social and Economic Development on Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborewori and Bayelsa State Governor Duoye Diri.
I hereby award you the honorary degree of doctorate.
Also honored were Senator James Manager and Engineer Ibipado Oginwo for their contributions to society and national development. Speaking on behalf of Governor Oborewori, Delta State Commissioner for Higher Education, Professor Nyerowo Tonukari, described the award as a recognition of the resilience of the Delta people and reiterated the administration's belief in education as the lasting legacy.
I received this recognition not merely as a personal honor, but as a tribute to the resilient spirit of our people, the tireless efforts of our administration, and the shared vision we hold for a more inclusive Delta State and a prosperous Nigeria.
As Nigeria deepens its engagement in the global maritime industry, the Nigerian Maritime University continues to stand as a symbol of innovation, knowledge, and national progress.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has done a groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of the Lagos, Nigeria Temple. The ceremony, held at the site of the proposed building in Ikoyi, Lagos, had leaders saying that there are currently about 382 temples either operating or under construction around the world, and this is the desire of the Lord to bring his house closer to his people where they can make sacred covenants.
It's a symbolic groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of a temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Members of the church are gathered here, along with their invited guests, for this very important ceremony, which they say is done in accordance with the Lord's command that the land be consecrated and dedicated.
Today we are really blessed to have 382 temples, either operating, under construction, or announced around the world. This is the desire of the Lord, to bring his house closer to his people where they can make sacred covenant.
Some members of the church share their experiences of worshiping at the temple and how to prepare to worship.
Today is a significant event in the history of Nigeria, particularly in our history as Lagosians. For all that is being done to be meaningful in our lives, it is expedient that we understand the essence. The essence of building the house of the Lord, which we sometimes call the temple, is for us saints to be able to come in there to make covenants with the Lord. And when we make those covenants and we honor them, the Lord honors us.
Temple worship brings blessing of internal family relationships. The sealing power in the temple allows husband and wife, parents and children to unite not only in this height and also for eternity. There is no blessing more precious than this.
Worship in the temple is a sacred experience. It's not just about being present physically, but being present spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. Preparing personally for temple worship help us honor God and receive the blessings he wants to give us.
And after this, the site is dedicated.
I now dedicate and consecrate this site for the building of a house of the Lord, the Lagos, Nigeria Temple.
This is followed by the formal soil turning groundbreaking ceremony.
Thank you so much.
We we are going to the chapel for teachings and discussing about the gospel of Jesus Christ. We are worshiping on Sunday. We are also partaking of the sacrament. That's where we have activities, youth people activities and so forth. But in the temple, it's a place that we are going to perform some ordinances that cannot be performed out of the temple.
Church leaders say that since the beginning of this dispensation, groundbreaking ceremonies have been part of the events of the Church of Latter-day Saints, even as they remain prayerful that the temple will be completed at the earliest possible time.
The Child Health and Mortality Prevention Surveillance CHAMPS project says its efforts are being intensified in Bauchi State to prevent deaths of children under 5 from preventable diseases such as malaria, diarrhea, pneumonia, and others. At its monthly meeting, the Child Health and Mortality Prevention Surveillance Project, funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, now the Gates Foundation, raised concerns over the continued reluctance of some pregnant women to visit health clinics for antenatal care. Despite these challenges, the project is strengthening its surveillance systems to gather accurate and reliable data right from the community level in a bid to reduce future child deaths. Our correspondent Hajira Aliyu reports.
Concerned about the persistent high rate of under 5 mortality, the Community Advocacy Board of the CHAMPS project, implemented by the College of Medical Sciences, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Bauchi, converged to brainstorm at its monthly strategy meeting. Bauchi State currently records an under 5 mortality rate of 153 deaths per 1,000 live births, significantly higher than the national average of 102. The infant mortality rate is also alarming, with the Global Data Lab reporting 105 deaths per 1,000 live births in 2021. A major focus of the meeting is how to enhance surveillance at the grassroots level.
We actually go into the community and try to interface with them, see what is there in their natural habitat, so that those factors that also contribute indirectly to the death can actually be documented, and then we can make that data available to the people, to the stakeholders.
One of the key challenges identified is the low rate of antenatal care attendance, but traditional institutions in the state have pledged to take decisive action to address the issue.
The indices we are having now, basically you will see the patients coming as the first booking. But after that, subsequent bookings, patients may not be coming until during labor. So this is one of the things we intend to correct. And perhaps if a child has suffered a disease and we cannot rescue the child and the child passes away, then there is a way of conducting autopsy.
From now on, we are going to insist whenever pregnant women, even at 1 month, they start going to the hospital for clinic.
The CHAMPS project, which will run until 2030, has so far achieved a major milestone with the establishment of a Health and Demographic Surveillance System, HDSS, which monitors key health trends across local communities. Hajira Aliyu, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule has flagged off the distribution of professional kits to frontline workers across the 13 local government areas of the state. In a joint ceremony at the State Primary Healthcare Center in Kwandere, the governor also flagged off the distribution of nutrition tab to children to tackle acute malnutrition in the state. In his remarks, he reiterates the commitment of his administration to improve the health sector across the state.
We have prioritized the well-being of our people, especially mothers and children. It is for this reason that we have continued to initiate programs and policies that will address the emerging health challenges of our people. I therefore urge you to utilize the services provided by our healthcare workers and to enhance the nutritional support offered through this locally made nutritional food called Kwash Wrap. I assure you that we will continue to invest in our healthcare system in order to strengthen our partnerships and to implement evidence-based interventions with a view to improving the health outcomes of our mothers, the newborns, and of course, all children. Together, we can build a Nasarawa state where every child has the opportunity to thrive and every mother can experience the joy of motherhood. Let me extend our sincere gratitude to all our partners, the healthcare professionals, the community leaders, the civil society organizations, and the dedicated individuals who have worked tirelessly to make this day a reality. Your collaboration and commitment are essential to the success of these initiatives. I urge you to sustain the tempo of this benefit to our people.
Victims of the recent attacks in Bokos and Bassa local government areas of Plateau State have received relief materials from the Nigeria Governor's Wives Forum to cushion the effect of the devastating incident. The wife of the governor of Plateau State, Helen Muftwang, on behalf of the forum, commiserated with the people, offering prayers for healing and comfort for those affected.
It is a moment of joy for residents of Bokos and Bassa local government areas of Plateau State, as the Nigerian Governor's Wives Forum commiserates with victims of the recent attacks in the area. With recovery ongoing and a determination to rebuild, members of Hoti community in Bokos local government area received condolences and food supplies from representatives of the Nigerian Governor's Wives Forum to ease their hardship following the attacks and looting.
The food items have been provided to help the situation, to cushion the effects of the attack. Definitely when something like this happens, people go through traumatic experiences, they suffer loss, and they're not able to, get on with life immediately. That's why we have brought the foodstuffs to reach any form of need. At least, that's the best we can do to help the situation.
Bokos Local Government Council Chairman appreciates the forum for their intervention, assuring that government remains committed to safeguarding lives and property.
So many things have been done by the government, different ministries. Ministry for Health came with their medical drugs were supplied to those who are in the hospital. So thank God, those that were admitted, some of them have been discharged. We only lost 2 at the hospital, that is at the Plateau Specialist Hospital. But to the glory of God, they are all recuperating. Yes, I want to appreciate His Excellency for that kind gesture.
The forum also extended support to victims in Bassa local government area, where food and other essential items were distributed.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has foiled a major smuggling operation in River State at Port Harcourt International Airport. Officers intercepted a woman attempting to export large consignments of cocaine, hitting both in her body and the false bottom of her handbag bound for Iran. In a separate operation along the Suleja-Kaduna road, the agency also seized a fuel truck and 3 additional vehicles carrying 246 bags of skunk cannabis with a total weight of 3,047 kilograms. 4 suspects were arrested in connection with both the busts, and the agency's spokesman, Mr. Babafemi, confirmed this in a statement. It says this coordinated effort underscores the NDLEA's commitment to disrupting narcotics trafficking nationwide. And now to the arts. Seen, heard and understood is a solo exhibition by Christian Mike Naji at the My Dream Gallery right here in Lagos. This young artist has found her voice through art, which has given her a means of expression. We see that in Art Review tonight.
was a solo exhibition of a young lady with autism who reveals her inspiring expressions in this solo titled Seen, Heard and Understood, which is an exceptional one for the My Dream Gallery in Lagos.
Christine's exhibition it's a truly special one, and it makes me really excited and hopeful, because this is a young lady that if you heard her mother's story, she was trying to model into the perfect child. She told her story of how when her daughter was diagnosed with autism, she went into denial, depression, before finally getting to acceptance. And so to see what art can do, to see that art can transform, art can heal, art can give hope.
That story of passion, commitment and inspiration is being told by her mother, who's always anxious to share this tale to encourage others caring for those living with the spectrum.
It was during COVID, when everything was at a standstill, that Christine found her calling. Not that she has not been painting, but we wanted her to be a regular child. So we didn't, she would paint on textbook. They would buy social studies textbooks, she would paint on them, she would sketch on them. And I would grumble. I won't lie, I would grumble. I would say, this is waste. I didn't know that my child was pointing me to the fact that she wanted to be an artist. I can remember her drawing the first painting I actually saw, a yellow cat on a small canvas. And when I saw it, I couldn't believe that she did it, so I wanted to stay up. And the second lesson that she now drew this woman, Calabari woman, with all the, red bead and everything, and I broke down crying.
The vibrant colors and subjects have struck a chord with the audience, who are in love with the works of art on display.
The artist is very talented. The colors are striking and they're deep. I'm very impressed with what she's produced.
Just like those who have walked this path, art has given Christine a voice to share hopes, dreams, and motivations.
To the world of sports now. Chairman of the National Sports Commission, Sheus Diko, has commended the level of preparedness by the Ogun State government and the quality of infrastructure for the 22nd edition of the game tagged Ogun Gateway Games. Mr. Diko gave the commendation at the courtesy call on the State Governor Dapo Abiodun in Abeokuta, the state capital. Speaking about plans for the facilities after the sports festival ends, Governor Abiodun reveals that the committee has been saddled with the responsibility of creating an economy around the sporting facilities in order to improve the state's gross domestic product and ensure economic stability.
Excellency, with what you have done, the sacrifices you have put, history will be very, very kind to you for this bold decision that you have taken to take on the games. And I can tell you, even before the games have started today, Ogun State have already set the marker.
We were initially worried that, these sporting facilities, post-games, you find that they become, idle infrastructure. What do we do with them? And because of that, we have begun to look at models around the world that, have implemented what is called a sports economy. And to that extent, we are being very deliberate about creating an economy around, this infrastructure, such that beyond the games, they will continue to impact and be a contributor to the GDP of the state.
Rebel Stars Football Club have been officially crowned champions of the 2024-2025 Nigeria Premier Football League. Football fans trooped at the Remo Star Stadium to witness the trophy presentation. But before the presentation, fans watched the league champions beat rivals Ikorodu City 4-1 in the league game. Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun, President of the Nigeria Football Federation Shehu Gasol, the National Sports Commission Chairman Shehu Diko, the sport personalities and enthusiasts were all present to witness Remo Stars receive their maiden top flight title. Well, that's the sweet sound of victory, and congratulations to them. Let's turn attention to the EPL now. West Ham heaped more misery on Ruben Amorim's Manchester United with a 2-0 win at Old Trafford. Nottingham Forest missed the opportunity to move into the Champions League positions as they conceded a late equaliser in the 2-2 draw against rivals Leicester City. A brace from Iberici was not to give Crystal Palace a 2-0 victory over Tottenham at White Hart Lane. Newcastle United moved within touching distance of Champions League football next season with a crucial 2-0 victory against 10-man Chelsea at St James's Park. But Arsenal came from behind down to force a 2-2 draw with Liverpool at Anfield. And away from sports now, still outside our shores, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says he is ready to meet with Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin personally in Istanbul, and that will happen on Thursday for talks over ending the war. And his post is coming shortly after President Donald Trump demanded Ukraine agree to Mr. Putin's talks after the direct talks between the two countries in Turkey. But Zelensky had earlier said that his country was open to talks with Russia, but only after a ceasefire was in place. Meanwhile, Pope Leo XIV today used his first message to the world to appeal for no more war. Well, his message came from the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica. Reflecting on the current conflict, the newly elected pontiff called for lasting peace in the war in Ukraine, a ceasefire in Gaza, and welcomed Saturday's agreement to end recent hostilities between India and Pakistan.
In his first Regina Caeli at St. Peter's Basilica on Sunday, Pope Leo called for a just and lasting peace in Ukraine, an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, and welcomed the truce between India and Pakistan. No more war, he says. I carry in my heart the suffering of the beloved Ukrainian people, and every possible effort be made to achieve a genuine, just and lasting peace as soon as possible. It comes as European leaders stood beside the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Saturday, demanding an unconditional ceasefire from Russia and warning Moscow of tougher sanctions if peace efforts fail. Back in the Vatican, Pope Leo quoted the late Pope Francis, saying that the global conflicts affecting so many people around the world equate to a third world war in pieces. He also welcomed the announcement of the ceasefire between India and Pakistan and said he hopes there can be a lasting agreement. The ceasefire announcement was made by U.S. President Donald Trump on social media. It comes hours after 4 tense days of cross-border clashes. Behind the scenes, U.S. mediators, alongside diplomatic back channels and regional players, proved critical in pulling the nuclear-armed rivals back from the brink of war. But hours after the deal, India and Pakistan traded accusations of fresh violations, underscoring its fragility. Wearing the simple white cassock of the papacy and his silver pectoral cross, Pope Leo noted that this Sunday is Mother's Day in many countries and wished all mothers including those in heaven, a happy Mother's Day.
Mi addolora profondamente quanto accade nella striscia di Gaza.
And the main news again. Suspended Governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, today said he is not desperate to return as governor of the state, as he cautioned his supporters to tone down on their confrontational approach. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawado. I wish you a wonderful week ahead. Good night and stay safe.